Coming up on Hands on Tech, look, you've got lots of USB-C cables, and it gets very confusing. I understand. Let's take a look and try to sort through the mess. Stay tuned. This episode is brought to you by Black Hat USA. If you listen to the show, you go deep on the technical detail. So does Black Hat. For nearly 3 decades, it's been where the security industry's most rigorous research gets presented and pressure tested. More than 100 hands-on trainings taught by practitioners who've actually deployed in live environments, not lecturers reading from slides. And hundreds of peer-reviewed briefings that go well past the overview into the real work across the 4 areas defining security right now: AI and autonomous threats, cyber conflict, systemic resilience, and identity. This year, Black Hat's Briefings Pass includes all keynotes and main stage access, plus business hall entry. You also get breakfast, lunch, Arsenal Live tool demos, on-demand session access, and admission to the Midnight in the War Room screening. Black Hat takes place from August 1st to the 6th in Las Vegas. If you want the depth this show gets into in person with the people doing the work, this is the room. Oh, and we'll be there too. Prices rise on July 17th, so book before then. Use code TWiT for $200 off your Briefings Pass at blackhat.com/US-26. That's BLACKHAT.com/US-26.
This is TWiT.
Hello and welcome to Hands on Tech. I am Mikah, Sargent, and today we are taking your tech questions and answering them. You can email me, hot@twit.tv, if you have tech questions that you would like answered. Today's question comes in from Doug. Doug writes, Mikah, I have a drawer full of USB-C cables, and I genuinely cannot tell them apart. Fair enough. Some charge my laptop fast, some take all night, and one apparently can't move files at all, even though it fits perfectly. They all look identical to me. Is there a way to tell what a cable can actually do just by looking at it? And is it worth buying specific ones instead of grabbing whatever's in the drawer? This drives my whole family nuts. Well, I understand. It can be a bother, and it's something that I have certainly struggled with as well. And so I completely understand having this issue and going, there's got to be some way to tell the difference between them. And unfortunately, I wish it was like chicken sexing, where you could sort of pick up the chick and go, oh, I know this is male, this is female, and move along. But it's not. You're not imagining it, and you're not bad at this. The system is confusing. And frankly, I'd argue it's confusing by design, because it's all about making a cable connector that works across so much. And so this is the thing. The one sentence that makes everything make sense also is an issue. USB-C is a connector shape. It is not a guaranteed performance level. That same ovular plug can carry basic charging, it can carry high-speed data, it can carry video, it could carry all 3 depending on the cable. So 2 cables can look identical because we're talking about connector shape, not about capability. So they can look identical and do completely different jobs. Here is how things may or may not vary for a USB-C shaped cable, because it's you can kind of think of it like, the 3 raccoons in a trench coat situation. These are 3 specks in a trench coat, 3 potential specks in a trench coat. Some John is joining in like, okay, there's a weird metaphor, Mikah. I mean, it's true. It is weird. So you've got power. That's one of the potential raccoons. How many watts it can carry. And you have different certification tiers. There's 60 watt, 100 watt, and now 240 watt. You also have data speed. That's the second raccoon, anywhere from USB 2.0 speeds at 480 megabits per second up to 10, 20, or 40 gigabits per second. So that will those are possible raccoons you can find in here. And then the final raccoon that you may or may not have in the USB-C trench coat is video, whether it can drive a monitor. And yes, those are separated out because video is something that needs to kind of run separately for the sake of being able to display at super fast frame rates and at higher resolutions. Now, the good news is, if a cable is made up to spec and certification, there's going to be something inside called an E-marker chip. and it will help to explain this slow charging mystery you are dealing with, okay? Any USB-C cable that charges above 60 watts or that runs faster than USB 2.0 has to contain a little e-marker chip inside. This is a way of communicating the capabilities of the cable. A cable without one is capped by the spec. So if you have a cable and it doesn't have an e-marker chip and it's got the USB-C connector on the end, then the system, whether it's your phone or some other device, is going to cap the capabilities of that cable at 60 watts and 480 megabits per second, no matter what's printed on the package, okay? So you could almost imagine it's kind of like you have two people walk up and they both say, I am certified as a water quality technician, right? And the one person, because you've got water that's contaminated at your home and you need to have somebody come and fix it. So two people walk up, they both say, I'm water quality certified technician. And the person on the left has no proof of credentials or credentials to provide you. The person on the right has the credentials to provide you. Which person are you going to let do more? Is it the person who isn't credentialed or the person who is? It's the person who is, right? Otherwise, you're going to say, you could take a look at it. Go have a look. Essentially, that's capping it. It's saying, I don't know what you're capable of, so I'm not going to give you any more than 60 watts and 480 megabits. However, if it does have that chip in it, then it will work much better. So even if you have a 100-watt charger, the charging plug actually shows that it can charge at 100 watts. If you pair it with a no e-marker cable, you're probably going to get around 27 watts of power from it. That ends up being your quote-unquote take-all-night cable, right? And the one that can't move files, well, that's a charge-only cable. And that cable's only wired for power, not for data. So annoying. All right, so how can you tell them apart by looking? I ask that question about my twins all the time. No, you check the connector and the packaging, and you look for printed or sometimes embossed markings. Certified cables are going to show power marks like 60 watts, 240 watts, 100 watts, and the faster ones will also show combined labels that show 60 watts / 40 gigabits or 240 watts, 40 gigabits, depending on what you have. Also good to look for USB logos, a Thunderbolt logo if it's a Thunderbolt cable. Those are ways to determine what the cable's capability is, the capability, if you will. You won't. And then also if a cable doesn't clearly tell you its power, its speed, its video support, then I think it's best to go, that's an unproven cable, rather than assuming it does everything. Just because it has a USB-C connector on the end of it does not mean that it's a more powerful cable. And in some cases, it's not. It's the opposite. And so it's better to go, okay, this is the cable that doesn't have certification markings, and therefore I can't confirm that it can do more than just charge. And if you want to be sure if the cable is the real deal, I've got good news for you. You can actually go to the USB group's website, usb.org/products, and you can search to see if the product is cataloged by the USB Implementers Forum, which lets you learn about the cable or the power supply or whatever it happens to be, and understand what it's what it is capable of doing. Okay, so you can look it up there, find the certification if it's there. I do want to remind you all about our awesome Club TWiT offering at twit.tv/Club TWiT. You can join. You can also use that QR code in the top corner to get to the site. $10 a month, $120 a year gets you some awesome benefits. Every single one of our shows ad-free, just the content. Very exciting. You also will gain access to special feeds, a behind-the-scenes feed that has before the show, after the show. We've got a feed that has our live coverage of tech news events, and a feed that that has our shows that we do in the club. So My Crafting Corner, Recent Media Club, where we covered The Fifth Element, had a great time with that. We also have Stacy's Book Club. We have the AI user group and so much more, all in the club. And very excited to say something that's been long requested and something that we are able to offer to club members because there aren't ads. It's chapter markers. That's right. You are able to use chapters if you're a member of the club. So if that sounds good to you, you should join. If not, well, there's one more perk, and that is access to the members-only Discord server, a fun place to go to chat with your fellow Club TWiT members and those of us here at TWiT. Are you excited? I know I am. Join the club, twit.tv/clubtwit, and I thank you. Now, here's what I would actually do for you specifically, Doug. I think it's best if you stop fighting the drawer. You've got this drawer, it's full of stuff, you grab one and you're not sure. Let's get sure. Buy a few known good cables, label them when you buy them so that even if they don't have the little markings on them, you have added them. So you can say this is a laptop charger, it has fast data. You could say it is a charge-only cable, and then go ahead and retire those mystery ones. Or if you want to keep them, put them into like a charging station that you offer guests where they can just plug in real quick. You don't necessarily have to get rid of them, but using them and having this frustration of ambiguity is not fun, right? If you want a single cable that does everything, my recommendation has always been to go the route of Thunderbolt. So a Thunderbolt 4 cable is also a USB 4 cable, and a Thunderbolt 4 USB 4 cable is great because it is high wattage charging. It is fast data. It is video. And most importantly, boop, 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 it is backward compatible. So you're basically getting the best that you possibly can, regardless of what you are plugging in here. That means that you know that if it's possible for the device and the interface to ramp things up, it can. But if it isn't, then fine. So I actually have almost all of my USB-C connector cables, meaning on the end of it is a USB-C connector. Almost all of them that I use regularly are Thunderbolt cables. I've got a CalDigit Thunderbolt cable plugged in right now to my Mac with an empty port just waiting for something to be plugged in. I've got another one that's Belkin just sitting here waiting for something to be plugged into it. And I have a third one on a hook behind my desk with nothing on either side, also waiting for something to be plugged into it. I use Thunderbolt cables because then I'm not spending time going, is this giving as much as it possibly can? So that is a very handy way to do so. One important reality check, though. A great cable can't create features that your device's port does not support. Does that make sense? It's not going to add features. If the laptop can't output video over its port, then it doesn't matter what cable you use there. It's not going to be able to do that. So keep that in mind. You're not adding capability. You're only able to use the capability of the device that's plugged into it and whatever's on the other end. So, Doug, here's what you need to remember. The shape lies, but the markings, if they're there, will tell you the truth. Look for the wattage, look for the speed printed on the cable. When you purchase a new cable, somewhere mark down what the packaging says so that you have that, or take a photo of the packaging and save it in an album called USB-C cables. Some way of being able to check and indicate what the cable is capable of doing. Let me see this CalDigit cable, which is Thunderbolt 4. It's marked with the Thunderbolt logo, kind of hard to see because it's dark, but it's the Thunderbolt logo with a 4 on it, so I know it's a Thunderbolt 4 cable. It's got CalDigit written on the other side, but let me see if there are any other markings. Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't, and that's partially because with this cable, I can see that it is Thunderbolt 4, and that is enough to give me what I need to know. But the cool thing is, this actually does have on the cable itself, sort of not ingrained, but engraved is the text 100 watt. So I do know that this is capable of 100 watt charging. Other than that, if I know the specs for a Thunderbolt 4 cable, USB 4 cable, then those are the specs that I can expect from this. I have another cable here from Anchor, and it has, it looks like 60 watt charging for this one, and it's USB-C on both ends. So look at your cables, label your cables, and if it's in the budget, Thunderbolt 4, USB 4 for your most powerful devices, you should be good to go, Doug. Remember that along with looking at wattage and speed, above 60 watts or faster than USB 2 means that it does need an eMarker chip, and it should have one. Buy a couple of these labeled, certified cables, and that way the family can stop grabbing the wrong ones. Maybe the next gift-giving holiday, everybody gets a Thunderbolt 4 USB 4 cable, and they're told they need to take care of it. But if that can be the most powerful device or most powerful cable in their arsenal, that's quite nice as well. Doug, thank you for writing in with your question. I love this question because it can apply to so many people. And so I would love to hear folks out there, if you have special ways of organizing your cables or special ways of marking your cables, I'd love to hear about that as well. HOT@twit.tv is how you get in touch. And I look forward to bringing you another episode next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.